Community is a big part in Beowulf, The Canterbury Tales, Sense and Sensibility, and The Hounds of Baskerville. Beowulf starts off with two groups, the Geats and the Danes. As both groups deal with defeating Beowulf, they come together as a community and work together to try to defeat Beowulf. Since the Geats and the Danes decided to come together and work as a community, they were able to defeat Beowulf and become number one. In the Canterbury Tales, there's a social structure. At the very top, there's a knight and squire. Then there's the monk and friar and the prioress. Then there's a merchant, doctor, and wife of Bath. Then the cook and the guildsman, and then the miller, yeoman, and plowman. At the top, that's royalty. The second level is ruling class. The third is clergy class. The third is trade class. And the last is the lower class, which is also known as the working class. Each level, they all have their own job, and together as a community, they all go together to help each other out. In the Canterbury Tales, one good example is A Knight's Tale. It was about two men who were locked up in jail. They saw a beautiful girl named Emily. But of course there was conflict, and they had to fight about who was going to win her. This is an example of community because they were two best friends, but yet, since there was one thing separating them two, it ruined that community of friendship. In the end, the community did not reunite. They separated. One died and one won Emily. And that's how one community can work out. In the book of Hounds of Baskerville, it was about a group of people who lived in a small town. They all knew each other, but yet they were living with this haunting story that continued to haunt them, that one of their guys was murdered by a hound. But there was something mysterious about it. How could a hound so big kill someone? So Holmes, a detective, came and investigated. In the small town, yet another guy died, and of course the story was another hound killed him. But something again was mysterious about it, and Holmes had to investigate even deeper. There were two people who were very mysterious to Holmes. The two of them claimed that they were brother and sisters, but they were actually married. When Holmes found out that they were not married and they were brothers and sisters, he wanted to investigate a little bit more. Maybe one of them could have killed the guy. As Holmes started to investigate a little bit more, he interviewed the husband, and he was correct that the husband was the killer. He was the one that killed the guy. It was not a hound, it was him. Even though it was a small community and they all knew each other, there was still one who lived a secret life. Sense and Sensibility is another example of community. It's about a mother and her three daughters who unexpectedly lost their father. Back then, the son always inherited everything. So the mother and the three daughters didn't inherit everything, so they had to move out. They were used to living in a big house, but now they have to move to a small cottage. As the mother and the two sisters moved into their new cottage, a guy came along and invited them to come join him and his wife for dinner. The two older daughters are at the age where they are able to get married. When they went to the dinner, there was a guy there looking for someone to get married to. The second older sister had two guys who both fell in love with her. They both had tried to impress her so she could choose which one to marry. In the end, the two sisters worked together in a family community to find which husbands work best for them. There are different examples of community. There are four main stories: Beowulf, The Canterbury Tales, Sense and Sensibility, and The Hounds of Baskerville.